Hey everybody, I'm Paul Fidinich with the VIP Home Team, and I'm coming to you with a special presentation today. I've got Andrew Yakey, who is a client consultant with Knock. And Knock is a great company that can provide benefits to you in order to be able to get from one home into another and make that transition a lot easier. And without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and introduce Andrew and let him take it over, and then we'll ask some questions along the way. Andrew, go ahead.
Thanks, Paul, and I appreciate you taking some time to speak with me here today. The Knock Home Swap program is a very unique, customizable solution that allows you to be able to buy that next home first while living in the comfort of your existing home. Access the equity that you've earned and built in your current home to be able to facilitate that new purchase and use that money the same as if you had already sold your home. So it's a win-win. It's both sides allowing you to do what I love to say is Knock has come up with a modern solution to the hassles of conventional lending. So your first question is, who are we? What is Knock, and where did we come from? Well, Knock has been around, and we've been doing the home swap for over 3 years. The Knock Home Swap is a very unique solution that allows a client to leverage technology and also a modern solution to be able to, have that ability to buy that next home, have time to sell their existing home, and even, do some things in order to upgrade it. We're a traditional Freddie Mac, Fannie Mae conventional lender. That means credit scores above 620 middle score, a debt to income ratio below 45%. It's traditional lending. The difference is we do it a very cool way. And that very cool way is two parts. And those two parts are the ability to have that new mortgage on that new property all before you sell your existing one. And why is that important? I'll get into that a little bit later, but it's a huge differentiator between us and anyone else. The second part is an equity advance, and that's allowing you to tap into a portion of your existing equity to facilitate the purchase of that new home. So who are we? We are a technology company that leverages technology and provides a unique solution for you as a client. That means control and customization of your position. So there are several different programs that are out there, and a lot of them are mirroring what we do, but don't do it exactly like us. We're the only conventional product that allows you to fund and purchase that next home all before you've paid off the mortgage on your existing home. And we do this by the 7 pillars of the home swap. And those benefits of that home swap program are unique to our solution. Now, like I said, we're a traditional lender, Freddie Mac, Fannie Mae, but we add this very cool component that gives you an advantage in the home buying situation and also when you go to sell your home. So I'll go through these one by one and we'll kind of discuss them a little bit and talk about the importance of them. Non-contingent offer on that new home. Now, Paul will sit there and as your agent and as a Knock certified agent, he'll be able to tell you how important it is to be able to have a non-contingent offer. That means you're at the top of the pile. That means that you are in line to be able to win that particular contract over everyone else that have contingencies. It also sometimes can put you in a position where you're able to move faster than everyone else, because relying on a contingent offer, as everyone knows, means that you're contingent upon selling your existing home. Our program, you don't have to do that. The second part, and the second pillar, is up to 30% towards your down payment. Now, why is that important? Well, 20% down gets you out of private mortgage insurance. This allows you to access your equity to be able to put that down payment down. So that 30% down, or 20% or 10%, you're using your existing equity. So you don't have to have that cash on hand. It actually is coming from the equity within your current home in order to facilitate that down payment. Now, why do we do more than 20% down? Well, interest rates right now are extremely volatile. And it's one of the things that you as a client sit there and a home buyer are scared of. Well, this allows you to get a much better interest rate, because once you go above 20%, that will actually lower your interest rate. So that is an additional advantage that we provide that no one else can. The third pillar, which is home prep funds. And what that basically means, it is the ability for you to be able to take money out of your existing equity, use that equity and that money to get your current home ready for top dollar. So you and Paul can list your home knowing that you're not only going to get top dollar, but it's in premium shape in order to do it. That means paint, carpet, you got to replace the roof. Maybe it's a couple fixtures that you and Paul talk about and decide, hey, listen, if we replace these fixtures, yes, it may cost me $5,000, but if it nets me 15 to 20 on the other side, why not do this? This, once again, solution allows you to buy first, sell second, but have the time in order to be able to do that. Our program allows up to 6 months after you've purchased your new home to sell your existing home. This allows you to be able to do those upgrades, to be able to do those, cosmetic items that will get you and net you that top dollar on the market. Number 4, buy down your interest rate. Everyone right now is looking at interest rate is the number one thing that I hear on a daily basis. That interest rate, being able to buy that down, if this is your forever home and it makes sense, your loan advisor will have a no cost, no commitment evaluation and customize a loan to fit your unique situation. It may make sense for you to buy down your interest rate up to 2 points. You can do that with our program, and it's not coming out of your liquid assets. Once again, this is coming from that equity advance or the second part of our very cool solution for providing the modern solution to traditional lending. Pay off high interest credit card debt. Why would that be important? Well, with increased interest rates, you're going to have more monthly payment. Well, we need to talk about net cash flow and what's coming in, what's going out, and where you feel comfortable being able to buy a home. If you're able to pay off some high interest credit cards, $25,000, $30,000, $45,000, and it gives you where you're able to, instead of making those payments to interest on a credit card, but towards a new mortgage, that new home that you want, that dream home, why not do that? In addition, when you do that, not only do you increase your buying power, but also allows you to get a better interest rate. The better your debt to income ratio, the better your interest rate is going to be. That's one of the factors when determining a client's interest rate. Now, increased buying power or appraisal gap. Let's say you have that new property, and with prices changing and fluctuating, it comes in, that appraisal comes in $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 less than what you expected. Historically, you and Paul would have to go back and try to renegotiate to get the price down and other things. And sometimes sellers won't budge. Well, what if you had a solution that allowed you to tap into your existing equity so it doesn't come out of your liquid assets, to be able to bridge that gap, to pay that $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 difference? Now, you can use your Home Swap program to bridge that gap. So you're not worried about losing that property or not having the money if you wanted to move forward. But once again, it's customized. It is your solution. You get to use it the way you want. 6 months of mortgage payments. Our program actually sets aside 6 months of mortgage payments on your current existing property. So you're not paying 2 mortgages at the same time. You do own both properties, which I'll explain why is so critical and so important here in the next few slides. But I want to put this out there that 6 months of mortgage payments, whatever you don't use, because our equity advance is interest free, and for 6 months, it's also dollar for dollar. Whatever you use is what you pay us back when you sell your existing property. Now, if you only have 3 months of mortgage payments on the existing property that you used in the time to sell your existing property, you get those other 3 months back at closing on that property as proceeds. So it's a win-win. It allows you to use your asset, your home, the most important asset you have, the way that you want, because that is your money. Now, Paul, I want to open it up to some questions about this part here and some questions that you might have about the 7 pillars.
Yeah, and it's a good time for that, because I do have a couple questions. What would happen if now, we got a changing market, and no matter what market, I've always been very successful at getting a home sold in a very timely manner, provided that the sellers did their part in doing what was necessary to get sold. But sometimes, especially as we get into a buyer's market and things change, the economy changes, and it takes longer than 6 months. What happens then?
That's one of the beauties about our program. Even before Paul has a conversation with you, we'll do a 60-second eligibility check. And the eligibility check just uses your property address, and it uses the benefits of your home. Our algorithm that we use over the last 3 years is designed. It was originally from Sean Black, who is our CEO. He actually was originally one of the founders of Trilogy. So we use the same base as Zillow and everyone else for values, but ours has so many more data points and so much more sophisticated. We now can trust that algorithm to be able to give us a much better value. Our algorithm is set up and has thousands of data points, but there's two that's very important to you as a client and as a potential buyer, and you as an agent, Paul. Those two are days on market and likelihood to sell. If those two don't fall within a certain parameter, we'll make the house ineligible. We never will put you or ourselves in a position where the house doesn't sell or it's on the market for more than 6 months. In the thousands of transactions Knock has done, we have purchased one home, okay? And this will lead into where we're talking about what happens after that 6 months. So with that being said, our algorithm is set up so that way we never put you in that position. So worst case scenario, let's say that happens. Well, the way we facilitate this ability to buy first, sell second, and use that equity advance is because we actually do place an offer on your existing property. It's a second offer, meaning it cannot be executed until 6 months after the purchase of the new property. And you still, as a client and as an agent, have to execute it. That backup offer is normally about 85% of the market value for the property because we don't want to buy homes. We want you to sell it with Paul on the open market for top dollar. So if that 6 months comes around and you then have a choice, you can either have us buy it or you can look at other avenues where you start paying both mortgages at the same time and start paying us back that equity advance, but it's entirely up to you. But I want to reiterate, we don't buy homes. In the thousands of transactions that we've done, we've only purchased one. And we set up our algorithm so we never put you as the client or Paul or us as a lender in that position.
Yeah,
great question, Paul.
Yeah, so there's sounds like there's just many options here for anybody that is looking for some help and getting from out of one home into another. Now we run into sometimes with people that they might need some credit help, or they might have good credit, but their debt to income ratio is too high, right? And so they're looking to sell their immediate home and move into something because they want to upsize or downsize or just move to a new area. But they can't qualify because they've got too much debt. And so can somebody actually use this, take that equity to pay off of that debt, so they can kind of get pre-approved contingent on those debts being paid off using the equity?
100%. That's the fifth pillar, the payoff debts and improved debt to income ratio. That is why we put this in place. What we looked at the market at the beginning of this year was how debt and how interest rates increasing and how people weren't able to qualify because of the changes that are happening right now. We've added this in so that way they can pay off that debt. When they close on that new home, we'll actually strike checks to those individual creditors to pay them off. Okay, this allows your client to have that debt to income ratio to not only qualify, but also sometimes to get better rate. So it is a critical step that allows you, once again, to customize. Now, a client doesn't have to use all these 7 pillars. They can use one of them. They can use all 7. It's a customizable solution that they are going to be able to use and be able to pick and choose based upon their equity position to be able to put themselves in the best position possible.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And then with buying down the interest rates, with your starting interest rate, do you offer a competitive interest rate, or are you bumped up because of what you're offering?
That's the beauty of this. Our interest rates are extremely competitive. We normally come in the same or very close to other national lenders. The way that we have set this up is we actually have 2 fees as a lender. And I'll go over those in a slide in just a minute, what the costs are. But the interest rate, we don't put our rates out with points included. So you can still buy down the rate. You can do a 2-1 buy down. There's a whole bunch of different aspects to improve your interest rate, but we are extremely competitive on the national market as far as what our rates are compared to everybody else.
Okay, and you offer adjustable rate mortgages as well, and a full array of programs as any other lender would?
We do, except for we do not have adjustable rate mortgages or ARMs, and we do not do interest only. They're going to be 30, 20, 15, 10-year fixed
Okay.
products at this time.
Okay. Yeah, which are the best products overall anyway, but sometimes people look and looking at the adjustable rates right now, hoping that interest rates will drop again in the very near future. So we're hoping that and expect that. So we'll see what happens. Can this be used on if they want to get out of a single family home and maybe downsize, move into a condo or a townhouse?
Absolutely. And that's the great thing about this program. And I'm going to go over cost here in a minute. But the program allows you, when we do the eligibility check on their existing property, that makes them eligible for the program, whether they buy a condo, whether they buy a townhouse, whether it's a single family, they're going to be able to purchase those with using this program. Only thing that is a caveat that we do not, even if they live currently in a condo or in a townhouse, they can still use that property for the eligibility check in order to qualify and be able to be eligible for the program as well. One caveat is if there is any restrictions such as 55 plus or 45 plus communities, the initial property cannot be in one of those. But the beautiful thing is they could buy in one of those. So if they are downsizing or if they're changing their economic situation and need to do that, they're going to be able to do that as well.
Okay, so if they're selling and moving from a 55 plus community, or an age restricted community, Knox does not work with those type properties. Okay,
correct. They can
Good
go
enough.
from a condo or a townhouse or a single family into one of those communities, but you can't start there.
Gotcha. Okay, makes sense.
Beautiful. I'm going to go into a couple of things that's probably, popping up as people are listening to this and say, okay, what's the catch? What's the cost? Which arm and which leg do I have to give up in order to do this type of program? When you compare us to other lenders in lender to lender fees, we're going to be either the same or a little bit less. Occasionally, we might be slightly a little bit higher, but there is no other lender out there that will provide for the same cost the benefits and the ability to have not only a non-contingent offer, but be able to stay in your home during that time frame and not have to sell it, access your equity to be able to facilitate that next purchase, and also allow you to pay off debts and everything else. So it is 1.25 of the purchase price of the new property is our commitment fee, or our, what I like to say, our convenience fee for using the program. We also charge $1,700, which is our underwriting and processing. Both of those fees you can pay at closing on the new property. And this is very important because at no point during the process are you committed to us or have incurred any costs until you close on the new property. And when you close on that new property, it will be these two fees that are ours as a lender.
Yeah, and that's actually that is not bad at all compared to what we've seen. We've seen some, we've seen origination fees coming up again. We've seen points being added on just to get today's rate. So it's really a challenge out there for all mortgages right now and getting buyers into them because the fees are increased with increased rates, and that's prior to even trying to buy it down to a lower rate.
And that's the beauty of our program. You can throw it against the wall and see if it sticks, as my grandfather would say, because you are actually able to take a look, sit down with your loan advisor, go through your particular situation, and then customize a solution that fits your family's needs. That is a beautiful thing in the current market, the way it is because not everyone is a cookie cutter traditional loan that's out there. There are certain things that we need to do to put us in a much better position. And that's what we do. We are a client-centric or a customer-centric or customer-focused company. Now, a couple things about Knox that most people may not know. It is a true buy first, sell second solution. Now, can you have your house on the market and still take advantage? Absolutely. Okay. We actually encourage you to put the house on the market whenever you're ready to put it on the market. The 7 pillars are customizable and controllable, meaning you as the client will be able to control this transaction and you can customize it to your unique situation. That equity that you're accessing, is for 6 months, interest-free and dollar for dollar. That's very, very important when you think about this, because all these other programs that you might find out there, they might have similar costs, but when it comes to that advance, you might be seeing anywhere from 4 to 6. And I've seen some cases where there's bridge products of over 12% that they charge on that. With this, you don't pay anything. There is no payment. It doesn't affect your credit score. It doesn't show up in your debt to income ratio because it doesn't start for 6 months after you've purchased the new property. Those are advantages over all the other programs of doing a second mortgage, a HELOC, or doing a bridge type product. This gives you additional advantages. Now, there's no double closing cost. You don't have to rent back or lease back or buy back the property from us, because we close in your name as the owner of the property and not our company's name. You don't have double closing costs. You don't have to rent it back or lease it back, which right now, some of these programs cost more than what your current mortgage payment would be. This is the last part that I like to go over, is called a recast. Now, let's say, because we're allowing you to borrow a portion of the equity, roughly about 65%, you're going to have proceeds when you sell your existing home. 90% of Americans want to reinvest into their most important investment, which is their home. So traditionally, if you wanted to put that money back into your new home, you'd have to do a refinance. That refinance gets a higher rate. In addition to that, there's additional closing costs, anywhere from 3 to 10 grand right now, depending on what your loan to value is. What if we had a solution where you can apply another payment, as much or as little as you want, to the principal on that new mortgage, and we recalculate your monthly payment? This could take you out of having private mortgage insurance if you're below 20% and you had to do a 15% down payment. Or this allows you to be able to, let's say you initially don't want that mortgage payment where it is, this will allow you to put a mortgage payment back into your comfort level because you're able to apply that equity. It's $300 to $500. It allows you to use your money the way you want. Once again, it's not an arm and a leg. It is very simple for us to be able to do this, and allows you to be able to use your money to invest back into your most important asset.
It's fantastic. I do have a question on, would this be potentially an assumable mortgage on their new home?
I'm not quite sure. That's a question that I would put towards the loan advisor. And that's one of the things that we do, is have that no cost, no commitment evaluation, where you're actually able to sit down with that loan advisor. They'll be able to go through that information at that time.
Okay. All right. And not that that's a big deal right now. I mean, if somebody's getting in at 6.5%, 7% right now, a few years down the road, hopefully, we're not at 10 where they're looking to assume a lower interest rate mortgage or something, but you never know, right? And that's key. And so if somebody has a home that does have an assumable mortgage now, and they want to move into another home, and they do the home swap, will that interfere with somebody assuming the mortgage on the sale property?
It has to be a traditional buy and sell transaction where one property is sold and one property is purchased. That is the way the program is set up. If it is a regular traditional purchase in that sense, yes, they would be able to use it. It all depends on how it's drawn up.
Okay. Yeah, great. Again, so much flexibility and so many advantages to using a program like this.
And one of the great things is, we haven't announced it yet, but we are going to be doing a 2-1 buy down ability for the client for the interest rate for that new home. So depending on how the markets go over the next couple of years, you're going to be able to put yourselves in an even better interest rate position. So this is a great product and a great tool to allow you to customize what solutions that you want and what you can kind of take a look at as far as, how do I go about getting into this new home, or this home that I found that I love, with the current environment that we're in.
Yeah, it's great.
Paul, a lot of people ask, what's the process? How difficult is this to do? Is this something that will take, 6, 7, 8 weeks to do? Is this, how do they do this? It's very simple. It's a 30-day close once you put the contract on the new property. There are times we can do it faster, but you'd have to get, get with your loan advisor to be able to get approval from lending to close faster. But we do a 60-second eligibility check at the beginning to verify the property is eligible. Next, you can get pre-approved online in under 10 minutes. That will give you an online application that gets you in front of a loan advisor. Within 24 hours, that loan advisor will reach out, talk with you, find out about your current situation, what your asks are, what your needs are, what your comfort level is. Do we need to pay off stuff? This is a no cost, no commitment evaluation that will allow you to be able to see a clear picture of where you stand in today's market environment. And this, at this point, is still, it doesn't cost you anything. There is no commitment. It allows you to have a clear picture. Next, you get a pre-approval within 24 hours if you're W-2'd. If you're self-employed or have variable pay or commission, it can take up to 72, but right now we're still getting most of those through because we do put it under in front of an underwriter same day or within 72 hours, which means you're not waiting weeks. So this entire process, from the time you are interested about the program to applying to a pre-approval, can all happen same day. Then you have 90 days, because our pre-approval is good, like any other conventional Freddie Mac, Fannie Mae lender, for 90 days. You can be out shopping knowing your rate, your term. You also know how much you can borrow, what you're able to pay off, what your expenditure is going to be. It really truly gives you that customization and power and control that you as a client need to have in today's current volatile market.
Great.
So I'm going to go into one brand new feature, Paul, that is something new that is very important with rates where they are right now. It's called lock and shop. So everyone has seen out there the rates go up and down. What if you could have your pre-approval and then lock your rate 120 days out and you haven't even found a property yet? That means you now have the power to control your situation. You can also, if the rates get better, you can float down the rate or renegotiate it. So you're not locked in. You're in what we call a worst case scenario. This allows you to be able to go through and have the ability to lock that rate ahead of time, anywhere from 60 to 120 days out. So that way you're able to know, once again, that clear picture where you're going to fall. And since there's no cost or no commitment up front, you're able to do this up until the time that you close on that new property without costing you a dime.
That's great, because it's so important to get that rate lock in early, especially with the interest rates being as volatile as they are right now, and still destined to continue rising for the foreseeable future, unfortunately. But to be able to lock it in, and if you're contemplating getting started in your home search now, I mean, it's like, well, let's get you pre-approved, get you locked in with your rate, because we'll find you a home. If you've got 120 days, we'll find you a home to, get into in that period. That's more and more homes are coming on the market. So inventories get loosening up a bit. And there's a lot more opportunities for buyers today. So this is such a fantastic program, Andrew, and I appreciate you, just giving us a quick rundown of all the ins and outs and the benefits and advantages of this, because we've introduced it to many people, and I can tell that a lot of buyers are just hesitant because they just think that something that sounds too good to be true is most likely not true, right? But this truly is a great program that is really not costing you anything more than a typical mortgage program, but giving you so much more flexibility when you have to sell a home and try to get into a new home. A lot of times you can make it work where you're selling a home and then you're settling on your purchase, and you've made it contingent on the sale of your home, and maybe you'll close the same day or the next day. But I'll tell you what, coordinating that and making it happen, the odds are not in your favor. And we've seen so many times that transactions have fallen apart last minute, and it can set off a chain reaction, right? If you don't close on that purchase, that seller can't move on and close on their purchase, and so on. So this is a great answer to resolve that problem. and hopefully, it gives a seller a lot more leverage on being able to sell their home and make their purchase, right? Because they're making their purchase as if it was a cash purchase, and they're selling when it's on their timeline, and they don't have to give in to buyer demands as much. They can set the tone, they can do the repairs, and maximize their return on their property.
And this is about peace of mind. And this is a solution that provides peace of mind. You don't have that stress. You don't have that anxiety because you're taking care of each part of the process individually and are able to focus on that part. It is a true, like I say, it's the modern solution to the hassles of conventional lending. And it is the reason why so many folks, even though they at first are hesitant, when I tell them there's no cost and no commitment until they close, and they're actually understand that, they now know that they could try this and there is no harm, no foul. I tell clients all the time, get approved by multiple lenders, compare apples to apples, oranges to oranges, but there's no one that's going to be able to compare and do what we do for the same cost and provide you that peace of mind. So I truly think that if you have questions, reach out to Paul. He can set up time for a Zoom with me or a phone consultation for Paul and I to review any questions that you might have and take a look at your situation. Be able to find out, is this something that would make sense for you? My job as a client consultant is to provide you with information for you to make an educated decision. So I want to be able to talk to you, answer any questions. I work agent hours, so that's 7 days a week, nights until, even though I have some West Coast folks, up until midnight. So this allows you to be able to reach out and have that peace of mind to be able to understand that you have someone in your corner working with you in order to help facilitate that dream that you want to purchase.
That's great, Andrew. And look, I really appreciate you being here. I know we've taken a lot longer on this than we planned, but there's just so much about it. We wanted to make sure that anybody watching this video is well informed and can make a well-educated decision on what their next move is in making their sale and purchase of their next home. So, Andrew, thank you so much for being here today. I appreciate it. And so glad to be a NOC certified agent at this time.
Well, thank you, Paul, and reach out to Paul. He is one of our top guys. He's going to be able to not only get your home sold, but he's also going to get you that dream home that you want, because he will be able to find it.
Awesome. Thank you, Andrew.